You think you're losing trades because of your strategy, or maybe because of bad luck. But what if the real enemy isn't the market at all? What if it's hiding inside you, buried in the beliefs about money you don't even know you have? Beliefs planted years ago, beliefs quietly steering your every decision. Tonight, we're going to uncover them. And once you see them, you'll never look at your trading or your relationship with money the same way again. You sit down at your trading desk, charts glowing, numbers shifting, the weight of possibility pressing against your chest. The market feels like an ocean, sometimes calm, sometimes storming, and you, small but determined, are trying to ride its waves. You believe you're here to master strategy, to learn setups, to manage risk. But the truth is, that's only part of the story. The deeper truth is this: you are here to face yourself. Trading isn't just about money. It's about the beliefs you've carried about money for your entire life. And most of those beliefs don't live in the daylight of your conscious mind. They live in the shadows, in your subconscious. They whisper when you hesitate. They push you when you overtrade. They shape your emotions in ways you don't even see. Maybe you've noticed it? That surge of panic when a trade goes green and you rush to close it, afraid it'll disappear. That desperate urge to double down on a loser because taking a loss feels unbearable. That gnawing emptiness after a win when you realize it didn't make you feel the way you thought it would. These aren't just trading mistakes. They are echoes of deeper beliefs. Beliefs about scarcity, worth, fear, and survival. You weren't born with them. You inherited them. From the arguments about money you overheard as a child. From the lessons your parents tried to teach you, sometimes in love, sometimes in fear. From the culture around you that told you wealth means power, or that poverty means weakness, or that money itself is dangerous. And now, here you are, sitting at your trading desk, carrying all of those invisible stories into the market. They influence every click of your mouse. They decide whether to hold or fold. They tell you whether you deserve to win or whether you should sabotage yourself. That's what this journey is about. Not strategies, not indicators, not the latest trading system. This is about you and the beliefs inside you. Because until you see them clearly, until you challenge them, until you reshape them, you will keep repeating the same cycles, winning, losing, breaking even, starting over, never understanding why. But once you uncover them, once you see your subconscious clearly, everything changes. Trading stops being a battlefield. It stops being a frantic fight. It becomes calm, patient, deliberate. You stop chasing money and start managing it. You stop fearing loss and start respecting it. You stop sabotaging yourself and finally begin to trade with clarity. So as you listen to these words, know this: you are about to embark on the most important journey of your trading life. A journey not into the market, but into yourself. A journey that will challenge you, unsettle you, maybe even shake you. But if you stay with it, if you allow yourself to look honestly at the stories you've carried about money, you'll find freedom. Because in the end, trading success isn't about the strategy you use. It's about the beliefs you bring to the screen. And this, right here, right now, is where you begin to rewrite them. Chapter 1. The Silent Forces Beneath Your Trades. You sit at your desk, charts glowing, candlesticks flickering up and down like restless waves. The market feels alive, unpredictable, almost like it knows your every move. You stare, you plan, you hesitate, and then you click, buy or sell, and suddenly, in the pit of your stomach, there's a shift, a rush of adrenaline, a whisper of fear, a silent hope. But here's the truth that most traders never face. It's not the chart in front of you that determines your outcome. It's not the news or the economic data or even the technical setup. It's something deeper, something hidden, something you almost never notice. It's your subconscious beliefs about money. These beliefs live below the surface of your awareness. They don't shout, they whisper. They shape the way you feel about risk, about profit, about loss. They sabotage trades before you even realize it. And worst of all, they convince you that the market is the problem, when in reality, it's your own relationship with money that's steering your decisions. Think about it. Every time you take a trade, you're not just analyzing data, you're making an emotional transaction with yourself. You're confronting what money means to you: freedom, security, power, validation, or maybe fear, scarcity, and shame. These meanings are woven into you from childhood, from family conversations you overheard, from cultural stories about wealth, from your own past failures and fleeting wins. You can pretend they don't matter, but they do. When you cut winners too fast, that's not a strategy problem. It's a subconscious belief that money will disappear if you don't grab it. When you hold on to losers too long, that's not discipline breaking down. It's the belief that taking a loss means you failed, and failure with money feels like failure as a person. When you over-leverage, chasing that one big win, it's not greed. It's the hidden belief that money is the only way to finally prove your worth. These subconscious patterns are like strings attached to your hands, pulling you in directions you don't even see. You may think you're in control of your mouse clicks, but deep down, your subconscious beliefs about money are driving your every move. And here's the most dangerous part: you don't even notice it happening. You've been conditioned your whole life to think about money in ways that don't serve you as a trader. Maybe you grew up in a house where money was scarce, where every dollar was a fight, every purchase was a risk, and the constant message was, "We can't afford it." That belief doesn't just disappear because you opened a brokerage account. It follows you into every trade. It tells you to cling tightly, to avoid risk, or maybe to gangle desperately, hoping for that miracle win. Or maybe you grew up surrounded by wealth. Money was abundant, but maybe it came with pressure. Maybe it was tied to your identity, to success, to never falling short. That belief breeds perfectionism in trading, the refusal to take a loss because it feels like a personal wound, a crack in your armor. Every subconscious belief about money leaves fingerprints on your trading, and until you see them clearly, you'll keep repeating the same painful patterns, blowing up accounts, making emotional trades, winning big, only to lose it all again. The market isn't your enemy. The system isn't against you. The broker isn't the reason you keep failing. It's the invisible battle happening inside of you, the battle between your conscious trading plan and your subconscious money beliefs. And here's the hard truth: until you face those beliefs, you'll never trade consistently. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Ask yourself, what does money mean to me? Not the surface-level answer. Not money means freedom or money means comfort. Go deeper. What does it really mean? Does it mean survival, validation, a way to escape, a way to finally prove something? Because that's what you're really trading for. Not pips, not points, not percentages. You're trading for whatever money represents in your subconscious mind. And that's the battlefield where most traders lose, not on the charts, but inside their own psychology. Think of your subconscious like a hidden compass. You want to head north, toward rational, disciplined, profitable trading. But your compass has been set to a different direction since childhood. No matter how hard you try to steer, no matter how many strategies you learn, you'll keep drifting back to the same old patterns, the same sabotaging decisions, the same emotional mistakes. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't see,
And so this journey begins with shining light on those hidden beliefs. You must learn to catch them in the act, to hear the whispers in your head right before you click, buy or sell. You must learn to separate the chart in front of you from the stories in your mind about what money means. Because here's the truth. Money itself is neutral. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't judge. It doesn't assign value. It doesn't make you worthy or unworthy. It's just a tool, a flow of energy, a measurement. But your subconscious has given it meaning, and that meaning is the invisible cage you keep trading inside of. And if you don't break free from that cage, every strategy will eventually fail you, not because the strategy is wrong, but because your beliefs will sabotage it. So here's the challenge for you now. Don't just think about strategies, setups, and indicators. Don't just look outward. Start looking inward. Begin asking yourself, why do I feel a surge of panic when I'm in profit? Why do I feel compelled to double down when I'm in a loss? Why do I feel empty when I close a winning trade as if it wasn't enough? Why do I keep repeating the same cycles no matter how much I learn? These are not strategy questions. They are subconscious questions, and answering them is the real work of trading psychology. This is the journey you're on now, the journey to uncover the subconscious beliefs about money that sabotage your trades. It won't be easy, it will be uncomfortable, but it will also be liberating. Because once you see those beliefs clearly, once you strip away the stories you've carried for years, you'll discover something powerful. Trading doesn't have to feel like a war. It can become a calm, deliberate process, not because the market changed, but because you did. And so the journey begins.
Chapter 2. The Childhood Roots of Your Money Beliefs. Close your eyes for a moment and think back, not to your last trade, not to yesterday's market, but to your earliest memories of money. Picture yourself as a child. Maybe you were sitting at the kitchen table, listening as your parents argued about bills. Maybe you were standing in a store, feeling the sting of being told, "We can't afford that." Or maybe you watched someone close to you spend freely, only to suffer later when debt came crashing down. Those moments may seem small now, but they left marks, deep ones. Marks that never went away, even when you became an adult. Even now, when you sit in front of your glowing trading screen, those childhood echoes are still whispering in your ear. Every belief you carry about money has a root, and almost always it traces back to the earliest messages you absorbed before you even had the language to question them. You didn't choose those beliefs. They were given to you. And now, decades later, they're still shaping your choices, whether you like it or not. Think about it. If you grew up in a household where money was scarce, you probably absorbed the belief that money is fragile, that it slips away quickly, that it's never safe. That belief might drive you today to take profits far too early, terrified that if you don't grab them now, they'll vanish. Or worse, it might push you to gamble recklessly, desperate for the one big win that will make you feel safe for the first time in your life. If instead you grew up where money was abundant, maybe you learned that money is tied to status, to image, to validation. Maybe you saw people flaunt it, spend it, show it off. And so you might carry into your trading the belief that a single losing trade is a dent in your identity. You might chase big wins, not because of the profit itself, but because of what it says about you, that you're competent, successful, admired. And maybe it wasn't about abundance or scarcity. Maybe it was about silence. Maybe money was never discussed openly in your home. Maybe it was taboo, hidden, a source of quiet tension. If that was your experience, then perhaps today you feel shame when you lose. You don't talk about it, you don't ask for help, and you bury your failures under silence, just like you learned to do as a child. The truth is this:
Money beliefs are inherited. They're not really yours. They're echoes of your environment, your upbringing, your culture. And unless you examine them, unless you challenge them, they will continue to run your trading life like invisible code written years ago. Imagine for a moment that your subconscious is like an old computer. The programs installed when you were young still run in the background today. You've upgraded your monitor, your keyboard, maybe even the operating system. But those old programs are still there, silently influencing how everything works. And when you enter the trading world, a place where money is on the line every second, those old programs activate with full force. That's why trading feels so emotional sometimes. That's why you feel your heart race, your hands sweat, your mind spin with what-ifs. You're not just reacting to the market, you're reacting to every story about money you've ever absorbed. Pause and ask yourself, what was money like in your childhood home? Was it a source of stress? Was it a measure of worth? Was it a taboo subject? Or was it a tool used wisely and calmly? Be honest with yourself because those answers hold the keys to your present. If money was stress, then of course trading feels stressful. You were wired that way. If money was tied to worth, then of course trading feels personal. Every trade feels like a statement about who you are. If money was taboo, then of course you hide your mistakes. You were trained to keep quiet. These beliefs aren't bad or good. They simply are. But the danger is in not knowing they exist. Because when you don't see them, you mistake them for reality. You think, this is just who I am. No, it's not who you are. It's what you were taught. And what you were taught can be unlearned. Here's the thing. Trading is the ultimate mirror. It doesn't just show you the market, it shows you you. Every decision, every hesitation, every surge of emotion, it's a reflection of your relationship with money. And that relationship began long before you ever opened your first chart. If you want to move forward as a trader, you need to go back. You need to revisit the roots. You need to shine light on the childhood stories that shaped you. Because until you do, you'll keep trading in the dark, driven by scripts you didn't write. Picture this clearly. A child sitting in a room, absorbing every word about money, every argument, every silence. That child didn't choose those beliefs, but that child grew up. That child became you. And now, every time you place a trade, it's not just you at the desk, it's that child too, whispering old fears and old lessons into your mind. The market doesn't care about your childhood. It doesn't care about your scars or your stories. It only reflects them back at you. And that's why so many traders fail. Not because they don't understand the market, but because they don't understand themselves. So here's your next challenge. Look back. Write down the first 5 money memories you can recall. Don't filter them. Don't analyze them yet. Just write them. Maybe it was your parents fighting. Maybe it was losing your allowance. Maybe it was watching someone show off wealth. Maybe it was hearing a sentence that stuck with you. We can't afford that. Or money doesn't grow on trees. Or rich people are greedy. These phrases, these moments, are not harmless. They became the subconscious code you still run today. And until you bring them to the surface, you'll keep repeating them in your trading decisions over and over again. Awareness is power, and awareness begins with looking back, not to blame anyone, not to shame yourself, but to finally understand, why do I trade the way I do? The answer is never just about the market, it's about your past. And now, for the first time, you can begin to see it clearly. Chapter 3. Scarcity versus Abundance. How your core money mindset shapes every trade. When you sit in front of a market, you believe you're making rational choices. You believe you're following a plan, executing a strategy, reacting logically to patterns and probabilities. But beneath every action is a deeper force. the lens through which you see money itself. And for most traders, that lens falls into one of two categories: scarcity or abundance. Scarcity is the belief that money is limited, fragile, always at risk of vanishing. Abundance is the belief that money is plentiful, flowing, always replaceable. Neither is right or wrong, but the one you carry inside you has everything to do with how you trade. Let's begin with scarcity. If you carry a scarcity mindset, every tick against you feels like a threat. You see red on your chart and instantly panic stirs. It's not just a losing trade, it feels like the loss of safety, the loss of stability, the loss of something you might never get back. You cling to small profits because the fear of losing them outweighs the possibility of letting them grow. You hold losers far too long because admitting a loss feels unbearable, like confirming that you'll never have enough. In scarcity mode, the market feels hostile. Every trade feels like a battle. Every fluctuation feels like danger. You're not playing to win, you're playing not to lose. And over time, that mindset drains you, exhausts you, and sabotages you. Because the truth is, trading requires risk. And if your subconscious believes money is scarce, risk feels like death. Now look at abundance. If you carry an abundance mindset, money feels like a flow. You believe there's always more, that losing some isn't the end, that the market will always present another opportunity. This mindset frees you from clinging. You can cut a loser quickly because you don't believe it defines you. You can let a winner run because you trust there will be other chances, even if this one slips away. You see risk not as danger, but as part of the process. But let's be careful. Abundance has its dangers too. For some traders, abundance becomes recklessness. You risk too much, too often, because you think there will always be another chance. You fail to respect risk management, fail to protect capital, and confuse plenty with infinite. The market punishes that kind of careless abundance harshly. So here you are, somewhere between scarcity and abundance, and whether you know it or not, one of these forces drives every trade you make. The question is, which one rules you? Think about your recent trades. Did you cut a winner too soon, just to lock in a little profit? That's scarcity speaking. Did you double down on a loser, believing you could force it to turn around? That's scarcity too, the refusal to accept loss, because loss feels permanent. On the other hand, have you ever risked too much because you believed the market would give it back later? Have you ever ignored a stop loss, convinced opportunity is endless? That's abundance, taken to its reckless extreme. Neither mindset is perfect. Scarcity strangles growth. Reckless abundance destroys capital. The key is balance, the ability to adopt a healthy form of abundance, grounded in reality, anchored in discipline. You must see money as flowing and renewable, but also respect its rules. You must understand that while losses are inevitable, ruin is not, if you manage yourself. Pause here and reflect. When you look at your account balance, what do you feel? Do you see numbers that feel fragile, ready to vanish? Or do you see numbers that feel alive, replaceable, part of an ongoing journey? That feeling, scarcity or abundance, will tell you everything about how you approach trading. And here's the kicker. Scarcity and abundance aren't just beliefs about money. They're beliefs about life. If you approach relationships from scarcity, you cling to people out of fear of losing them. If you approach opportunities from scarcity, you hesitate, procrastinate, protect yourself. And if you approach life from reckless abundance, you overspend, overextend, overcommit. Trading simply magnifies the mindset you already carry into every part of your life. You can't fake this. The market will expose you. If you say you believe in abundance, but secretly feel scarcity, your actions will show it. Cutting winners early, hesitating on setups, feeling sick at every drawdown. If you say you're disciplined, but secretly feel invincible, your actions will show it. Over-leveraging, ignoring stops, blowing accounts. So what's the path forward? The path forward is awareness, balance, and choice. You must first recognize, I am operating from scarcity right now, or I am drifting into reckless abundance right now. Then you pause, you breathe, you return to balance. You remind yourself, money is a tool. It flows. It comes and goes. My job is not to hoard it or to gamble it. It is to manage it, to respect it, to align my actions with reality. This is where trading psychology becomes more than just mindset hacks. This is about identity. Do you see yourself as someone who is always at risk of losing? Or do you see yourself as someone who trusts the process, someone who accepts both loss and gain as part of the journey? Scarcity whispers, if I lose, I'll never get it back. Abundance whispers, there's always another chance. Wisdom whispers, I accept both loss and gain, and I manage them with clarity. That wisdom is what you're really after. Because once you find it, you stop fighting money. You stop chasing it. You stop fearing it. You begin to treat it the way it was always meant to be treated, not as proof of your worth, not as a symbol of your safety, but as a neutral flow you can manage wisely. And when you reach that place, trading changes. Suddenly, you're not gripping the mouse in panic. You're not riding emotional waves. You're not clinging or gambling. You're balanced, calm, patient. And that state of mind is what allows strategies to finally work. Because here's the secret. Strategies don't fail. Traders fail themselves. And most of the time, they fail because their core money mindset, scarcity or abundance, is out of balance. So here's your task now. Take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. On the left, write scarcity beliefs. On the right, write abundance beliefs. Under scarcity, list every thought you've had about money that feels limiting. I can't lose. I'll never get it back. I don't deserve it. Money is dangerous. Under abundance, list every thought that feels free-flowing. There's always more. I'll recover. Losses don't define me. Then ask yourself, which list drives my trades more often? And how can I bring myself back to balance? Because until you shift this core lens, every trade you make will be colored by fear or recklessness. And only when you realign can you finally step into consistent, calm trading.
Chapter 4. The Myth of Enough. Why you always feel it isn't sufficient. There's a moment you know too well. You close a winning trade, you see green in your account, and for a brief second you feel relief, satisfaction, maybe even pride. But it doesn't last, does it? Within minutes, your mind whispers, "It wasn't enough." That whisper grows louder. You start scanning the charts again, hungry for the next setup. You feel a pull, not from logic, but from the belief that what you just earned still isn't sufficient. You've tasted victory, but instead of fulfillment, you feel emptiness. You want more. You need more. This, right here, is one of the most destructive subconscious beliefs about money, the myth of enough. The belief that no matter what you have, it isn't sufficient. That belief sabotages traders more than any chart pattern, any news event, any market condition. Because when enough doesn't exist in your mind, you'll never feel settled, never feel satisfied, never feel in control. Think about it. You set a target for your trade. The chart moves in your favor. You hit your target. Rationally, you should celebrate the discipline. But what do you feel? A pang of regret. You think, I should have aimed higher. And so the next time you push the target further. And when it doesn't get there, you're crushed. The cycle keeps repeating because deep down you don't believe in enough. Where did this come from? It didn't start with trading. It started long before. Maybe you grew up in an environment where nothing was ever good enough. Maybe you got good grades and were told, why not better? Maybe you achieved something only to hear, that's nice, but what's next?
That constant moving of the finish line trained your subconscious to chase endlessly, to never pause, to never allow yourself the peace of sufficiency. Or maybe you grew up with very little, and even when you had just enough, it felt unsafe. Scarcity taught you to believe that unless you're stacking more, grabbing more, hoarding more, disaster is always around the corner. So now, even when you win, you can't rest. You're already bracing for loss. This myth of enough plays out brutally in trading. It drives overtrading. It pushes you to re-enter after a win, not because there's a valid setup, but because your subconscious says, "This isn't enough. Go get more." It fuels revenge trading after a loss, because you tell yourself, "I need to get back to where I was. Only then will it be enough." But here's the cruel truth. In your mind, enough doesn't exist, and that means you'll never reach it. You've seen it. You've lived it. That endless cycle of pushing for more only to end up with less. That burning frustration of watching profits vanish because you couldn't step away. That sinking feeling of turning a green day red because you believed you needed one more trade. It's not greed, it's not lack of discipline, it's the myth of enough. And unless you confront it, you will keep chasing, keep sabotaging, keep losing. So let's pause here. Take a breath and ask yourself honestly, what would be enough for you? Not the vague dream of wealth, not the fantasy of millions, but right now, what amount would feel sufficient? Could you even answer that? Most traders can't. They'll say, "I just want more. More than yesterday, more than last month, more than the person next to me." But more is not a destination. More is a trap. And the deeper you fall into it, the more the market will punish you. The truth is, enough is not a number. It's a state of mind. You could have $10 or $10 million. If your subconscious is wired to believe nothing is sufficient, you'll still feel empty. And you'll still trade recklessly, desperately, endlessly. But here's the flip side. Once you define enough for yourself, once you decide, "This is what I need, this is sufficient, this is enough," trading begins to change. Suddenly you can close a winning trade and feel content instead of regret. You can step away after a green day without guilt. You can stop before overtrading ruins you. This doesn't mean you stop striving. It doesn't mean you never grow. It means you anchor yourself. You draw a line in your mind and say, "Once I cross this line, I can rest." Without that line, you're a prisoner. With it, you're free. Look at professional traders, the ones who survive long term. They don't chase endlessly. They have targets. They hit them. They stop. They don't need every pip, every tick, every move. They know enough is enough. That's why they're consistent. That's why they last. Now think of yourself. How many times have you had a green day only to give it all back chasing just one more trade? How many times have you watched your account rise only to burn it down because you couldn't define sufficiency? If you can't define enough, your subconscious will keep telling you, "Not yet, not now, keep going, keep pushing," and that voice will sabotage you every time. So here's your task. Write down your definition of enough. Be specific, daily, weekly, monthly. Decide what sufficient profit looks like for you, not someone else, not the trader on social media, not the dream in your head. You, right now. Then, the harder part, honor it. When you hit that number, stop, walk away, celebrate. Not because the market demanded it, but because you chose it. That act, choosing sufficiency, is the beginning of freedom from the myth of enough. Because the truth is, the market will never tell you when you've had enough. It will always tempt you for more. If you wait for the market to decide, you'll bleed. But if you decide for yourself, you reclaim power. Trading is not about chasing endlessly. It's about defining clearly. And once you do, the whisper of "it wasn't enough" begins to fade. And in that silence, you find something rare in trading: peace.